Hey Wildcats, today we are going to work on rational numbers, multiplication, and division. If you will, go ahead and fold this paper in half. Figure out where the middle of that page is so that you can draw a line all the way down. Be sure to title the top of your page Rational Number, Multiplication, and Division. Remember, at any point, if you need to, press pause during the video. For today's lesson, every 10 boxes I'm going to draw a line so that way our paper is laid out with a total of 8 boxes. We need a total of 8 boxes. If you'll notice, about every 10 boxes, I draw a line straight across. We're going to start with practice problem number 1. For question number 1, we have 2 1/2 times -4 3/5. We know that when we're multiplying fractions, we cannot multiply mixed numbers. We need to make them improper. To make these problems improper, we're going to have to multiply the denominator by the whole number. 2 times 2 plus 1 gives us 5/2. Again, do the same thing with the next one. 5 times -4 is -20, plus 3 is -23. Now we have -23/5. We're still going to multiply these two numbers. Before I multiply, though, I want to make sure, can I cross simplify? Yes, I can. I'm going to multiply or cross simplify the 5s and turn them into 1s. And now that I've done that, I can multiply straight across. 1 times -23 is -23. And 2 times 1 is 2. Now, if you're entering your answer into Canvas, you are going to enter it in as -23/2. Or if it's a multiple choice question, you're probably going to look for the answer -11 1/2. Let's move on to question number 2. In question number 2, we have a negative divided by a negative. Well, we know that when a negative divided by a negative, our answer is going to be positive. For the number that goes on the inside, it's going to be our first number, -107.1, is being divided by -5.25. We're going to implement the same division rules that we normally would. We don't ever divide by a decimal. We move the decimal over until it's a whole number. If I do it on the outside, I have to also do it on the inside. I'm going to put a 0 here as a placeholder. Now, go ahead and click pause on your video and see if you can do this math. Now that you've given it a try, let's go over what you've done. I know that 525 can't go into 1, 10, or 107, but I do know that it could go into 1071 2 times. 2 times 525 would give me 1050. I'm going to subtract that, leaving me with 21. I'm going to bring down the 0, and I realize 525 also cannot go into 210. When we get to a point like this, we've got to add another 0 on the end. Put a 0 as a placeholder. Remember, 525 couldn't go into there 0 times. Make another 0, bring it down. But it can go into 2100, actually 4 times. Looking at this, it's really easy to make a mistake here because I forgot to bring up my decimal place. My decimal was right here. So my final answer, if we remember, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. A positive 20 4/10. Here we go. Let's get ready for our third example. In question number 3, we're doing a negative times a negative. Again, same rule applies, and a negative times a negative gives us a positive. All right, the rules with setting up a decimal for multiplication, we do not have to line up the decimals. Go ahead and click pause on your video to give yourself a chance to try it on your own. First, you're going to set up the decimals. I love to figure out how many decimal places are behind. So I have 1, 2, and 1. So in the end, I need to move it 3 total places. I kind of make this like a balloon over to the side. Let's do some multiplication. 8 times 5 is 40. Carry my 4. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 4 gives me 20. Carry my 2. 8 times 4 is 32. Plus 2 is 34. 4. Now I'm going to go to the next place value. Cross out what I've already done. 7 times 5 is 35. Bring up a 3. 7 times 2 is 14. Plus 3 gives me 17. Bring over the 1. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 1 is 29. Now we're going to add these numbers up. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. 4 plus 7 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 3 plus 9 is 13. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. I'm not finished just yet. Remember, I need to move my decimal 3 places. I move it 1, 2, 3. And my answer is 33 and 15/100. I don't have to have the 0 because the 0 is just a placeholder. Great job. For question number 4, we're working with fractions. We have a negative 5/9 divided by a positive 3 1/3. A negative divided by a positive is going to leave me with a negative. I go ahead and write my negative sign so I don't forget it in the end. Remember, when we divide fractions, we're actually going to do keep, change, and reciprocal or flip. So I'm going to keep negative 5/9. I'm going to change it to multiplication, and I would do the reciprocal of 3 1/3. Before I can do the reciprocal, I need to change it into an improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so I have 10/3. What is the reciprocal of 10/3? That's going to be 3 over 10. Now that I've got my problem set up, I'm going to do some cross simplifying. 5 and 10 are both divisible by 5, so 5 divided by 5 is 1, 10 divided by 5 is 2. 3 and 9 have 3 in common. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now we're going to multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 2 is 6. Now, this was a negative 1, so negative 1 times a positive 1 makes this negative. Whether the negative is on top or bottom, remember they all mean the same thing. My answer is negative 1/6. For the next examples, I'm going to post the problem. Look for the solution underneath after you've attempted it. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to your teacher. Good luck.